I had to do a double take when I saw the moves of this game coming through. It was Arjun playing with the white pieces, cool as a cucumber, Mr. Well Prepared, and his opponent, the one and only American bad boy, Hans Niemann. He's on the black side of things. These were the opening moves. This is in India. It's the Chennai Classical tournament they're playing in. Incredibly strong field. And Hans Niemann keeping it solid. Queen's Gambit declined. Arjun goes for this Catalan opening, trying to break down Niemann's solid defence. Of course, this is named after Grandmaster Allen, a chess-playing cat. It's an incredible opening. This is now the main line. Castles, knight c3, knight bd7 is played. You know, many moves available to black there. A big one being takes on c4. And now castles looks normal, right? But Arjun plays a big boo-boo normally, moves the same piece twice in the opening. Technically not what you're supposed to do. Can you not take? Make a mess of the pawn structure? This didn't happen. We're in analysis mode. Well, this isn't actually ideal because you hit a pawn, but it can be defended. Your knight's attacked, and now there's tons of pressure on the center. The black position's collapsing, really. So let's back up. No takes. Niemann goes for the full party hat. Very solid in the centre now. Castles is played, and now he takes. Discombobulates his own knight by choice, but drops back here. Now, didn't we just say it wasn't the best idea to be taking? Well, it is different. Now you got these pawns supporting the centre. Then when Arjun takes on d5, you are positioned to recapture, not lose a pawn. E takes is logical to open the eyes of this sniper. Pawns under fire here, and so Arjun roars like a mighty chess lion, builds the connect 4 as well. What a guy, what a player. He wins a large blue pony. There he is. Fantastic stuff. And now one of the best ways for black to play here is with bishop check and then building this big center or big queenside pawn storm. But Niemann goes a completely different direction. He plays pawn f5 with a roar. What a passion. The rook's pushing off behind it. He's stopping this one from ever advancing. I mean, you'd have to prepare it and everything. And he's saying, okay, I've weakened my king, but I've gained some space. I'm taking squares. Is he going g5 one day maybe? Well, it's an exciting game. Let's see what happens. Knight b6 now selected. Queen c2. This bishop stacks on top of the other. Rook fd1 lining up with the black queen. Uncomfortable. This knight hops in. Bishop backs up. And the lady activates. Gets off the gaze of the rook. Starts pressuring down here. Maybe support something on the fifth. Can you push the pawns one day? Get them rumbling? All will be found out. This knight's first kicked. It jumps forward into a3. Queen b2. And now, here we go. The rooks centralizing. We get one of the most fantastic sights in all of chess. Rook fd8 forms the rooktangle. The entire playing hall begins to shake. The fans are loving it. The drums start getting banged. The hooters are being blown. Some chess players launch themselves off their seats and begin throwing down shapes. It's such a party, such a hoot, but there's a tournament going on. Arbiter asks for hush. Order is restored. Rook d4 is played from Arjun. Do you even rooklift, bro? He whispers. And hang on. Can you not go c5 here and just pile through with the big black centre? Well, it's a big mistake, as you can see. You could play rook a4 and you're losing an entire piece. So that's good enough, really. Or you could even play knight takes on d5. Because after pawn takes, there's knight takes, check, and then hitting this rook. So you really have to time these pawn advances right if you can make it work at all. b5 was selected by Niemann. This isn't the most precise move, but it's how the game proceeded, and for the first time, Hans Niemann just edges ahead on the all-powerful bar over here. He plays this move before you can say, hey genie, ring that bell. This knight now moves away, and the strongest way to continue, the only way for black to keep advantage, is queen a6. A very subtle move that supports this bishop from afar and therefore allows pawn c5, because then it deals with some of the tactics here, the checks on the king. The queen now covers. Subtle. Missed. Instead we saw the move knight b5. Now it seems really shocking that that is getting the double question marks of doom. I mean, what a logical move. The rook drops off here, but it gives white back the advantage basically over a pawn's worth when you run it with the powerful machine. Niemann's still fighting though here. Anything could happen. They're in the deep dark forest. Watch this move. Pawn d4. And it is a sacrifice. You're about to see why. It's accepted. Best move. Do we see knight takes? No. This is the point. The bishop backs up and the c pawn just marches on down the board. It's explosive and it's so difficult to face. You know, you can't go pawn takes. The queen's on your knight. This is a threat. Maybe c3 at the right moment as well. But at least you have to do something with your rook right now. And if you start exchanging like this, looks pretty natural, then it's actually black who's sitting best now. This check is a threat. So it really makes pawn takes, again, a big problem. You know, the knight's loose, or the bishop could take back with a great game. So it's difficult to play here. What do we see Arjun do? Well, a brilliant C. What did he play in this position? It's bishop d5. Very well done if that one occurred to you. And we've got to ask the obvious question, what if you munched the rook? That was your threat. Well, now we take with check. You know, this was one of the big ideas here behind the queen on a6, supporting that bishop. King goes in this line, and then you can pick up the pawn immediately, or play this subtle stuff. Sorry, chop the rook first. Now pick up the pawn. Here you can't advance, or that drops with check, and all sorts of nastiness. This is the game continuation that could possibly happen, but didn't, because we didn't see... What was the line I was just analysing? We didn't see pawn takes rook. That's the one. In the game, the best move is played. Bishop takes on d5. Now it allows the rook to save itself and centralise. Surely here you go pawn c3. It just looks the move. Queen c2 then from white. Game goes on here. Something like this. White's a bit better. But Niemann didn't go pawn c3. He played the most wild continuation. I mean, we do love Hans Niemann's chess. So exciting, so brash. Knight a3 was played, giving an entire queen. Of course it was taken, because now you can take here with check. This king steps up the board, and this is the point. Pawn c3. And the queen has got no squares. So it's a kind of pseudo queen sacrifice. A sham one. You're winning the queen straight back. This was the game. Bishop recaptures. And although it looks amazing for black, rook now played there to cover the a7 pawn. In fact, it's white who stands better in this position. Because although the pawn is passed and covered, let me back up one move, white's still a pawn ahead. Niemann should have taken here, because the king can then step in, yes, but at least you munch that pawn and deal with the massive clump of white pawns. But in the game, this was played as I showed, and it now allows pawn takes on f5. And what a monster kind of iceberg of pawns this now is. Formidable, rumbling down the board, and this one's just not really going anywhere. We see bishop h4 check, king e3, rook d7 covers the knight. Now this pawn is pushed, hitting the rook, Not the most precise chess, but they're dropping down low on time now. King e4 playable, but not best. The king steps this way, check, king e2, and this is what now Niemann's going for. Has to generate counterplay, checks against the king, mating nets. Can he force this one through? Trouble is though, white's got this move. Rook d5, and you're activating. The king is now in trouble. We see knight e1, terrible, trying to spin around for some kind of attack. But anyway, it was tough. An immediate bishop drop back was best, but very difficult. White's now killing it because g5 interrupts this bishop's connection along the diagonal, and it means that Niemann has to go walkies with the king. You know, this isn't just a check, but a mating threat. And the pawn's running very fast. So hence king f8. The seahorse joins the party. Pawn c2. Desperation from hands. Completely lost though now after check. King e7. Rook d7. King back. And now the finishing touch. Can you see the best move? Knight b7. A fianchettoed knight brings it home. This threat is just unassailable. What to do? Giving up a rook and a knight is the best kind of thing. Or a knight, let's say. If you take with check, something like this. The white king escapes here. What to do? Bring the knight back or something. But now check. Here's how you can form the mating net. You can either push with the pawn or you could check. Let's show the quickest. King g8, and now you checkmate. Brutal there from Arjun Erigaisi, a calculating machine. Hope you enjoyed this one. Do have a look at the video on screen if you want to see another incredible game of chess, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.